Wouldn't life be amazing if we didn't have to experience stress? Wouldn't we embrace more challenging opportunities and spend our time more efficiently if we were free from the constant worrying and insecurity? I think we would. So in this video I'm going to share 7 practical ways that you can implement in order to live a stress-free and uplifting life. Now, what is stress really? Why do we have to experience it, and what makes it so common among people? Well, let's look at this diagram. It's basically the physical sensation you get when you are worried. Or one could say it's the discomfort you feel in your body as a consequence of the negative thoughts that poison your mind. It might be no surprise that people who are negative, pessimistic and constantly engaged in overthinking are way more stressed than the others. So how can we deal with this? The best place to start is to distinguish bad stress from good stress. Yes, there is such a thing. Avoiding all stressful situations would be no different than living comfortably and becoming complacent, which is the greatest obstacle to having an enjoyable and exciting lifestyle. The true enemy is called distress. Stress that only brings you down and has no real benefit attached to it. Some common examples are destructive criticism, abusive bosses, getting injured, toxic relationships, and so on. On the other end, we have eustress, which encourages you to evolve and become better even if it's not easy, like physical training, getting out of your comfort zone, waking up early, or having role models that push you towards overcoming your limitations. Even if in these situations the sensation you feel in your body is still uncomfortable, the outcome of going through eustress is positive and worth fighting for. Now that you know what you need to avoid, it's time to eliminate stress-inducing elements from your life. It might sound obvious, but we don't have to manage or deal with stress if we remove what's causing it in the first place. So try to curate your life as much as possible before using your time and energy to fight the problem. Maybe it's a toxic friendship that brings you down, or a relationship that forces you to adopt a lifestyle you hate. Personally, I've had to deal with a lot of stress because of my schedule. I'm always a little too optimistic when time blocking the activities that I want to do, and I often find myself lagging behind. Even now, I struggle to organize everything while also having some space to relax. However, instead of simply accepting the situation and seeking ways to endure it more easily, I know I can fix the root issue by making little tweaks in my schedule and testing it for a few weeks. It's almost impossible to get something like this right from the beginning, so for me it's a matter of trial and error until I find a healthy balance between doing the things that I want to do and not being in a rush every minute of the day. The third step to living a stress-free life is actually my preferred method of dealing with a difficult situation, which is to start doing something about it as soon as it becomes an issue, mentally or emotionally. If you're anything like me, you probably struggle to concentrate when you have an uncomfortable problem sitting in your face. I've experienced this especially with medical related stuff. Even if it's nothing bad or irreversible, I just can't seem to focus until I do anything about it. It's like an app running in the background and consuming most of my memory. However, what has happened to me numerous times to the point where I don't think it's a coincidence anymore is that as soon as I made an appointment to the doctor, all of the stress and all of the overthinking was gone. It was like the problem suddenly vanished, and for whatever reason, I felt like I actually accomplished something. The reason why taking the first step towards solving a problem as soon as possible is so powerful is because stress and anxiety are mostly caused by uncertainty and inaction. When you have a choice to make, you're basically going back and forth between 2 or more options, so you allow your thoughts to wander freely in your mind and potentially cause a mess. It's like you're analyzing multiple fictional scenarios, and the longer you postpone taking a decision, the greater the damage overthinking will do. Not fun. However, when you finally decide to take the first tiny step, your mind knows it's over. There's no more need to think about the perfect action plan. All that's left is letting inertia do its magic. So for all of the stressful and uncomfortable things in your life, try to figure out what's the smallest step you can take right now in order to solve the issue. For example, if you're always busy and can't seem to find time to do what you want, the best thing to do is to invest some energy to level up your time management game. Start by creating a calendar and time blocking your tasks and activities, i.e. decide on the days and time intervals you're gonna allocate to each of them. Or, if you're having minor health issues, make a commitment to start exercising or go on walks regularly. Just find a way to stay consistent and write down your plan. Or if you're experiencing financial stress, a great first step would be to keep track of your expenses and create a budget. Decide how much you can spend in each category of your lifestyle. Shelter, which is rent and bills, food, transportation, and so on. This might not solve the problem entirely, but it allows you to create a stable foundation for further improvements, like minimizing your expenses or increasing your income. The fourth way to reduce stress is to practice gratitude. In the long term, this will train you to see the positive side of things, which is a great antidote to overthinking. Being grateful for the things you have or the experiences in your life can give you a sense of achievement. You've come this far and you should be proud. Instead of comparing yourself to others, gratitude encourages you to observe and appreciate the progress you've made along the way. You're essentially competing with your past self, and it's very likely that you'll come out on top. Even if some things aren't going that well, being grateful for the things you've learned over time will motivate you to maintain your momentum and overcome self-esteem issues caused by potential failures. That being said, there's one little problem here. It's actually very difficult to be grateful and positive when we've literally been trained for tens of thousands of years to be pessimistic. Our ancestors had no choice but to constantly keep an eye out for danger. The sound of wolves howling in the distance wasn't just a minor inconvenience, it was a physical threat that had to be dealt with immediately. They didn't have the luxury to appreciate what they had, like, hey man, I really love this new cave we found and I'm so grateful that we have enough wood to make a fire and stay warm tonight. No, during those times, being pessimistic was part of the survival instinct. Fortunately, most of the stuff we worry about today isn't a direct threat to our safety or well-being. And even though pessimism is deeply ingrained in our minds, we can actively fight the urge to only see the negative in things. We now have the privilege to ignore destructive criticism or the fear of being judged and focus on creating positive outcomes. The fifth way of managing stress is to be more present. This is something I've been working on myself for some time now, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy at all. It takes a lot of patience and persistence, but it really pays off in the end. Most of the stress we experience today is caused by constantly being in our heads and catastrophizing every situation that we have the opportunity to overanalyze. Everything seems much worse, dangerous, and scary in our minds. But guess what? Being present forces us to confront the actual reality of things, which is not that bad. There are several ways to anchor yourself in the present moment. The easier ones are those which engage one of your senses: sight, hearing, touch, and so on. For example, when you're running, actively listen to your footsteps and try not to miss a single one. Or take a moment and contemplate nature. Observe the birds flying or the trees trembling. It's boring, I know, but it really works. You'll be surprised to find yourself feeling more relaxed than ever. Doing household chores is another great opportunity to practice mindfulness. While washing the dishes, try to concentrate on the sensation of water running down your hands. Feel the texture of the sponge or the sturdiness of the plate. As long as you're using one of your senses, feel free to choose any activity you like. But remember this, mindfulness is not a form of relaxation. It's actually training for your mind muscles. Even though the outcome of regularly practicing mindfulness can be a less stressful life, you should look at the activity itself as a workout for your brain. You're exercising to tame your stubborn and stress-inducing negative thoughts. The sixth way of reducing stress is journaling. It had to be somewhere on this list because it's such a powerful habit for managing your thoughts and associated emotions. On paper, everything seems harmless, and you're able to reframe every situation in a way that's favorable for you. If you're curious about the awesome benefits of journaling, I've made an entire video about it, and you can check it out right here. The seventh and final way of managing stress is quite common, and you're probably doing it already. Going for a walk. There are countless studies that highlight the benefits that walking has on your nervous system and overall well-being. In fact, these benefits aren't restricted to walking. It can be any activity that takes you out of the house to breathe fresh air and feel the sun, such as biking if you prefer a more adventurous approach to cardio. When nothing else works to calm you down, just go outside for a few minutes and then take a quick nap. It really does wonders. That is pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye!